From the Chicago Sun-Times newsroom, I'm Natasha Korecki, and this is Off Message, our weekly political talk show where we give you an insider's look at some of the biggest political stories of the week. Joining me today, editorial writer Kate Grossman, Sun-Times columnist Neil Steinberg, and also from Springfield, our bureau chief Dave McKinney is joining us. So let's jump right in with Pat Quinn's new lieutenant governor pick.
Why don't you take it from there, Paul?
Well, thank you. Well, thank you very much.
Dave McKinney, what is the strategy here?
Yeah, I think the governor was looking for somebody who is sort of a kindred spirit to him. I mean, they've known each other for 30-some years, so there's chemistry there. But I think, Vallas brings school reform credentials to the table, and that, I think, is a calculation based on what they think, who they think the likely candidate on the Republican side is going to be in the fall, and that's probably Bruce Rauner. And Rauner, of course, has been real active in all sorts of school reform efforts.
I think Vallas brings the key thing Quinn is lacking, which is sort of decisiveness and leadership. I mean, people might not remember Vallas, but they'll get acquainted pretty quickly with Haiti and New Orleans and Bridgeport. And I mean, Vallas, whether you like him or not, he gets stuff done, and Quinn does not.
But it's not because Quinn isn't decisive, it's because no one listens to Quinn. Okay, he certainly is trying to do things, and he has plans, but because he has no friends, no one will help him.
Is there a better chance that people are going to listen to Quinn if you've got Vallas in the room, Dave?
I mean, potentially, but I agree with Neil's basic handicapping here. Lieutenant governors don't win these races. But, don't forget, in 2002, Vallas mopped up in Chicago and the collar counties, and I think he brings, some electoral experience into this. He knows how to campaign.
There's been a lot of controversy with him following him all over the country, including from Bridgeport, Connecticut, where he just came from. Will some of that spill over here?
I don't think so, mostly because they brought him on in large part, the way Dave said, is because of his school credentials to go against Rauner. Do you think the Chicago Teacher Union folks are going to vote for Rauner over Vallas or Quinn? No, they hate Rauner.
There's a tsunami of Rauner money that's like rolling towards Illinois, and I think that once that hits, all of this will seem moot.
Well, so let's switch gears to the Rauner news, which was yesterday he revealed that he is going to put another $500,000 into his campaign fund. And what that does is it takes the caps off for everyone, including Pat Quinn. Dave, what is that going to do to the race from this point forward?
For Dillard and Brady, those guys are having trouble raising money from the get-go. I think for Rutherford, he's got some ability now to go back to these donors and try to raise more, but he's always going to be playing second fiddle in terms of fundraising to Bruce Rauner. Now, on the Democratic side, what's interesting here is that Pat Quinn, what this will enable him to do is basically not have to spend anything and just keep raking in the big checks. And so by the time we know who the Republican nominee is, Pat Quinn could have amassed another $2 or $3 or $4 million.
Right, and Rauner's argument, of course, is he's the only one who can compete with that. Let's switch to national news. President Obama today apologized for a sloppy rollout of the Affordable Care Act.
I think it's fair to say that the rollout has been rough so far.
He's talking about, look, I'm trying to solve this problem. I know I have a credibility issue with this law.
He has a naivety issue.
How far does he have to go to get anybody's
He has to make it
faith
work.
in this?
Okay, if this doesn't work, he's basically passed a law that forces the American people to be frustrated with computers and to lose their health insurance if they're not careful. Those are very powerful emotional. I would be upset over that.
Are there positive things, Kate, that people are overlooking here?
He said, hey, listen, let's not pretend the old system was fabulous. It was horrible. People in the individual market got kicked out of their insurance all the time and had to go back and pay higher premiums. But he did try to talk about staying in your parents' insurance till you're 26 and the pre-existing conditions, all these things that are already in place.
That's the miracle here is Obama actually made Republicans care about the uninsured, which I never thought I'd see, but suddenly they're like, oh my God, these poor people, and but they never cared before.
Well, we're running out of time, so let's close out with the notable quote of the week. I will offer a surprisingly strong comment that came from John Green, National Deputy Director at Working Families, about Paul Vallas. The most significant positive contribution that Paul Vallas left in Bridgeport is the fact that he united teachers, students, and parents in opposition to everything he spent his lifetime creating. So there's a lot of hatred out in Bridgeport. So you got for
Well,
us?
so Obama said we fumbled the rollout of this healthcare law, which is a slight understatement, but true.
There was a CTA meeting Tuesday night about the good news budget that was basically shanghaied by people upset over the new Venture card. And someone called Cubic, which runs the readers and things, an evil company because they're a defense contractor that provides basically military software to surveillance drones, which doesn't help.
The Roman Catholic bishop in Springfield, Bishop Thomas John Paprocki, is going to be holding a prayer service of supplication and exorcism. And Paprocki basically said that same-sex marriage is the instrument of the devil.
With that, thank you to our guests, and thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.